Hi, my name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED, and this is Q5 Ham Radio. I'm back with the contest crew just days before WRTC. Randy K5ZD, Dan N6MJ, Chris KL9A, Bill W9KKN, and a special guest, Tim K3LR. If he keeps coming back, we might have him be a permanent member of the contest crew. Thanks, Tim, for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be here, Kevin. Look at all these great guys that are just, they're having trouble sleeping now, thinking about WRTC.
Well, we're looking forward to talking about the WRTC, but first I want to hear about your European tour. I know you have covered a lot of ground so far, and you have more ground to cover. What's up?
Well, yeah, I'm doing a lot of things here, and WRTC is the final act in the big stage. But going to Bulgaria tomorrow to see ACOM, and Montenegro on Saturday to see Ranko, 4 Oscar 3 Alpha, then over to WRTC, and during the contest, I'll be a multiplier from the Isle of Man for the WRTC stations.
Sounds like a heck of a trip.
Did you meet any interesting hams this past weekend?
Yeah, this past weekend at Friedrichshafen, I met lots of folks that I didn't expect to, and that's the great draw for that, because it's all new people and all new junk in the flea market. So I was really busy, and it was a great show. The weather was hot, but it's air conditioned inside of the messe where they have it, and got to have some quality one-on-one time with a lot of really cool guys.
And some people from the Bavarian Contest Club too, right?
Yes, yes. Just a tremendous group of guys at BCC. I've been a member of BCC for going on 6 years now, so it's another home contest club for me when I'm there.
So let's dive into the WRTC. With only days to go, I'm really curious what's on everybody's mind. Dan, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, like Tim said, the nerves are starting to show up a little bit. Definitely getting excited about what's about to happen. We're getting our final travel plans in line, making sure we have all the documents filled out, making sure we know where we're going and when. I really want to point out that the organizers over in England have been doing an amazing job of staying in contact with us. I know some of the information came out a little bit slow, but they're super, super busy over there. And I think it's been really impressive what they've been able to pull off so far. And, I know things over there are going to end up being great. But for now, we're just very, very anxious to head on over there.
And Chris, I know before the call started, you were telling me that you were most excited about this.
Yeah, this is probably my last competitive WRTC, and I want to make sure we end on a high note, right? Yeah, Randy laughs. I'm telling you, it's much less stress to not compete. But I haven't done ham radio in a month or two, like really been immersed in it. So this whole process is kind of a ritual. Studying logs and practicing Morse Runner and doing all that stuff, and that amp up is really cool. Dan talks about travel plans. What he didn't say is that the travel plans for us is super simple. Our wives are also going, but they're going somewhere else, and then we're going to meet them afterwards, and that's the difficult part. WRTC planning is a piece of cake compared to make sure your wives are taken care of and they can get from point A to point B and they've got things squared away. But I'm super excited, and I definitely think about it all day, even when I probably shouldn't be. So hopefully it works out.
And the gear is all packed, Chris?
The gear will be packed this weekend. It's all in my garage in a crate. I haven't touched it. I don't want to lose anything. But I have to make sure that my baggage allowance is there. And Brazzo has our radios. Dan wasn't part of that, but it's kind of weird having a fellow competitor bring your radios with you. So we're going to have to check them out, make sure they're actually not sabotaged, and really run them through their paces to make sure we're on the up and up.
Actually, I rode with your radios on Sunday.
Oh,
nice.
Guard.
Are they locked? Are they
Personal
good?
security.
They almost weren't. There's a great story about
Oh man.
running out of gas with the KL9A N6MJ 2 radios. And that was Saturday night on the way back from the show. And I was with Delta Mike 9 Echo Echo, and your radios are right behind us. And we pull out onto the road and bang, car stops. And there's all these cars going every which way. And so Karsten did his normal thing and got out of the jam. It took a couple hours, and I walked to the hotel.
Wow.
We got it done.
Well, thank you, Tim. I'll be sure to thank him in person. You may recall in 2018, we had quite the adventure with those same radios, getting them to the site. So hopefully that was the glitch and that was it.
I don't think you could make a better choice for radios. I mean, they do weigh 52 pounds each. So they're not for the lighthearted, but boy, I'll tell you, the IC 7851, I think it's a real good luck stream for you because you used those radios in 2018.
Yeah, and there's a reason we picked those, even though they weigh a lot. That's what we need.
And Randy, how's your prep?
Well, I'm going to start real soon now. No, I spent some time this weekend inventorying radios. I need to take 2 radios over, and I have 3 K3s. So the one that just came back from Ellicraft is working great, no problem. I've got another one that's throwing errors every time I turn it on, but the radio seems to work okay. So, hey, what could be wrong? And then I have another one. I said, okay, well, maybe I'll bring the other one. I get it out. It's only putting out 72 watts instead of when it thinks it's putting out 100. So I don't know what's going on with that one. Well, can't bring a 70-watt radio to a WRTC. That'd be a waste. So anyway, out of 3 radios, I think I've got 2 that work. And I've got a table that I'm slowly piling up with stuff. And then sometime this weekend, I'll sit down and figure out how many suitcases it's going to require. In typical fashion, W2SC has most of the gear, but we have spares. I think we're going to have almost 100% spares. So between the 2 of us, that's why I need to bring 2 radios and a bunch of bandpass filters and some triplexers and on and on. It's amazing, just amazing how much stuff it takes to put together a competitive multi-2 using a tri-bander and 2 dipoles.
I got to say, that's not a total confidence builder. You're working through your K3s trying to figure out which one works.
Well, they all work, just not the way they're supposed to.
Okay, well, I'm just going to be careful when I put my bets on tomorrow.
That's okay. That's why we have spares. I'm sure we'll figure out how to get 2 radios that work.
And Bill, I know you're not competing, but you'll be there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a spectator, so life is good. I don't have any of the stress. I am going to bring a spare radio for Chris and Dan.
Yes, you are.
Whether it works or not is anyone's guess, right? But it might be better than the radios that almost didn't make it. We'll see. But yeah, all the travel plans are locked in. Making sure that I'm going to be in an air-conditioned room was a very for next weekend was a very important thing because looks like the weather's going to be really warm and toasty for WRTC. And my goodness, it's very exciting. I just can't wait to get there and meet everybody and kind of watch the whole thing unfold.
By the way, Chris, Italy was going to be my last WRTC also.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I don't see a reason to compete again. It's more fun to just show up and talk to everybody and not have to worry about the logistics.
That's true, but if there's a contest, must-win contest, right?
Yeah. You're right.
And Tim, what's your best advice for the people that aren't able to go to the UK and either are going to be operating in the AIRU or just paying attention to the scoreboard?
I think it's going to be tough to be on the air and watch the scoreboard that WRL has built because it is just a fabulous piece of work. And I know James and his team have been working very hard at WRL to make sure the experience is second to none. And so, your eyes are going to be glued to the scoreboard and all the activity that's going on there. And the flux is over 200 now. So conditions could be outstanding. You never know. And you're going to play the hand you're dealt. But I got to tell you, last weekend at Friedrichshafen, Brazzo, Echo 77 Delta X-Ray gave a tremendous presentation at the contest forum about Echo Fox 8 Radio, the station that Dan operated from in CQ Worldwide CW. And he is just jazzed up. I mean, he gave the whole contest forum was in English, which I didn't expect that, because Contest University the day before, every one of those speakers except me was in German. So Brazzo was just going on, and the details that he did at EF8R on phone, and then Dan came in there on CW, and we know what happened. I mean, preparation is everything. So I think, if you're at home, get on the air and work as many WRTC stations as you can on both modes and all 5 bands, work them 10 times and work every station. That should be the goal, because this is a tremendous celebration of amateur radio in our sport of contesting.
It's also kind of unique in sports in that most of the time you're just watching passively from home while the event is happening. And this one, you are 50% of the event. Getting on the radio and working the WRTC stations puts you right in the game with everybody else. I do recommend that you work Chris and Dan as often as you can, even as many times on each band as possible, just to make sure they got your call right.
You're killing me. You won't hear Randy with his 72-watt radio, so it's fine.
Yeah, so at least they'll have someone to work.
Don't worry about it.
Chris, you were talking earlier about the coverage that the WRTC organizing committee has put together during the event. Can you give me some details about that?
Yeah, they have a daily YouTube video. I want to say it's 1630 Zulu or something like that. And they're kind of giving you the behind the scenes snapshot of each day as leading up to it. And it's really cool. It's little tidbits, it gets me excited. I think it's neat to see how much work they're putting into it. I think I know how much work it is, but I really don't. It's pretty cool to see all the volunteers. And Randy mentioned it earlier today. The number of people it takes to put 50 stations up in 2 days is just mind blowing. And as we mentioned, it's not a cool day in anywhere in Europe, and they're in sweltering heat. So the behind the scenes look is really cool.
And did that take place in Italy also? The same sort of media coverage?
I don't think so. I think this is new this year.
I don't think they had nearly as much.
Yeah, so that's
but
pretty
could
neat.
Be wrong,
And Kevin, I know you're going to be there too, right? You and your son are coming over?
Talked my son into coming with me. He's a photographer and a filmmaker, much more talented than I am. So we're going to be doing interviews in the lobby, probably one-on-one interviews, short clips that we can put up quickly. Mark M0DXR is giving us access to the stations during setup and probably a couple stations during the contest. So we'll be able to get some footage there. We won't be publishing anything live during the contest just for obvious reasons, but yeah, we hope to cover a lot of ground. And one of the big reasons I'm bringing my son is the big task is editing. So he's going to be helping me do editing late at night just so we can get things turned around. Because obviously if we shoot stuff and wait 2 weeks, it's no good. So if anybody's interested in this content, watch Q5, both the Facebook account as well as Q5 YouTube. There should be a lot of stuff going up, both longer form, but also short clips.
Randy, you had live streaming in 2014, I remember, and it was just in the lobby of the hotel, or did you do some interviews or something?
Yeah, we did some. It was an experiment, and live streaming today is so easy compared to what it was then. But I've just sat in the lobby and talked to people and put it out there, but we couldn't really tell who was watching or get much feedback like you can today. So
well,
it was ahead of its time.
The day before I left, I was glued to it, packing my bags and watching. I remember watching you and Nate in the lobby. Anyway, I thought it was really cool just before I got there to see everybody already there. So I'm looking forward to the live stuff.
I'll be interested to see what the WRL and organizers come up with. They're talking about having live commentary during the contest. In addition, on the same page as the scoreboard. It's funny, it's a little bit like commentating the Le Mans, 24 hours of Le Mans or something like that, because it doesn't move super fast, but at the same time, there's always stories happening and stuff to talk about. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to pick up on or how things go. And we see in every WRTC, a few stations will get to some kind of a lead for whatever reason, and then they'll fall back, either due to conditions or a mistake or a equipment failure or whatever. So it's not a hard. I mean, it's a hard thing to get all the way through unscathed. So we'll see. That's why the scoreboard is so great, because you can kind of go do something, come in, see how everybody's doing. And the scoreboard is going to show the call signs of the operators, but not the call sign of the station that they're operating from, partly to limit the cheerleading and, people playing favorites. But they're using the call signs of the operators so that your family and friends can look and see where you are. If they obfuscated that, then nobody would know who all these different calls are or who the teams are that are in the lead.
Kevin, I think one of the great storylines, I spent some time last Saturday talking to Leon, Delta Lima 3, Oscar November, and Megan, Echo India 5, Lima Alpha, one of the youth teams. And I think, Kevin, there's going to be some great storylines there. Look, these two kids are going to Victor Papa Zero Sierra Golf next year on like one of an amazing expedition. But before that, they're a WRTC team, and they have been so good for youth in amateur radio, and that the sky's the limit. I mean, Violetta was there, Kilo Norway 2 Papa. She's at the show. She's a big supporter. Katie, KE8LQR, who is also Delta Alpha 2 Kilo Tango now. I listened to her talking German to the BCC members over the weekend. I mean, she's known German for all of maybe 7 or 8 months. And it was like, wow. And she's working at WRTC. So there's so many backstories that you're going to be overwhelmed with material.
I
there.
absolutely agree. And I'm glad you reminded me about the youth teams. I did talk to Leon, Violetta, and Megan while they were in Norway. And it was just a really fun conversation. They're over there with some of these great de-expeditioners getting firsthand experience. So that was fun. And I think I told you this, Tim. Katie's actually working with Q5 now, doing some writing for me. So it'll be really fun to make a connection with her.
Yeah, I think she's really good for our radio sport, and she's a great ambassador for ham radio. So the youth teams, this WRTC has concentrated on having high quality youth teams, and I think it's going to pay off. And who knows? Anything can happen. That's the great thing about contesting. You just don't know. It's the ultimate live sport.
The other fun thing about the youth teams, I think it's encouraging other youth. I was at Field Day, obviously, last weekend with Seth Jones and U1D, and he's got a bug in his bonnet to possibly go to WRTC in 4 years. And largely due to the fact that, well, number one, because he listens to you guys and he gets pretty pumped out about contesting, but also he sees other youth making these trips, doing these de-expeditions or competing at WRTC. So we don't know how many kids right now are watching this saying, hey, this is a goal for me in 4 years.
Yep. They want to be like Dan.
I thought they wanted to be like Chris.
Oh my gosh! Why would? We better censor that. Oh my! Wait a second.
Oh, my head's getting bigger. I don't know what just happened.
Oh yeah, you gotta widen the zoom out, man.
So, Bill, what do you intend to do while you're there?
I'm going to just kind of skulk around and talk to as many of these high-end contesters as I can. But I'm going to try to help Chris and Dan as much as I can, much as I'm allowed to, get their tent going and deal with any real technical stuff that happens. I'm going to hang around Trey and some of the local log checking efforts. I'm going, last WRTC I ended up having a surprise roll after I was a referee and had to fix some of the logs that came out of the DX log software, and something like that comes up, I'll certainly help. I've negotiated with Lee to update SuperCheck partial at exactly the right moment. so that the super secret WRTC call signs are in the database exactly as they're announced. That's sort of my plan. And then, I'll have the wife with me, so I'll make sure that we go do a little sightseeing and keep everyone entertained. I actually, I'll probably help you out, Kevin, with some of the broadcasting details, and Lee and the WRL guys asked for some help with that too. So I'm sure I'll find something.
That was actually the purpose of my question. Are you going to be free to carry a camera around and some gear?
Of course I will. Yeah.
I need all the help I can
By the
get.
way, those SCP files you're going to make, they're no help to us as competitors.
Oh, I know
because
they're
we're not
not.
allowed to use Super Check Partial.
Well, no,
but for
they
everybody
are
else, they
because-
should definitely download it.
Yeah, they won't bust your calls as much.
Yeah, that's the one guy on this meeting here that knows the calls.
Yep.
And he's been sworn to secrecy. That's,
I have.
So Ofcom gave WRTC 2026 some amazing calls, and Bill knows them.
We all have one hope, that there's only one number in the call sign. That's all I can say.
Bill's not even going to blink.
I still have nightmares
I'm
from
not even gonna blink.
Slovenia.
What was your call in Slovenia, Randy?
Oh, something like Sierra 513 November or something like that. It was, we all had these Sierra 5 and then two numbers and then a letter, and it's just like getting people to understand that's what's going on out of the blue was a challenge.
Well, speaking of pit crews, so Bill is going to be kind of a pit crew with Dan and Chris. Going back to last Saturday, I got to talk to Flo, Oscar Echo 3, Yankee Tango Alpha, one of the movers and shakers of the Region 1 Yoda camp. And he was the pit crew for Brazzo when Brazzo was at Echo Fox 8 Radio. And that kid, well, I think he's 28 now, but he looks like he's like 13. But he's as sharp, and and it sort of reminded me of K6JO and his pit crew contribution to Dan when he was in the Canaries. So pit crews are real important, Bill. You've got a great role.
I know, and I have no actual responsibilities, but I can sort of do what's fun, and that is my idea of fun, is helping make sure that everything's working.
Yeah, we'll get you a list, Bill. Don't you worry.
Oh yeah.
How can you consider yourself a world-class contester and you need a pit crew to set your station up? I mean, come on now.
They don't
need
me. No. They've been handling everything. Chris has his whole list together. I'm just bringing a spare radio and a soldering iron, and that's about it. Okay.
Bill's our moral support.
Yeah. I'll keep him, laughing and not panicking.
He's going to help us take our hydration breaks. Make sure we get massage before the contest.
Exactly.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, you will.
23 minutes into every hour, you have to take a hydration break.
It's going to be great.
No. They kick me out of there before the whole thing starts.
Yeah, I've been a pit crew twice. Once in Boston, 2014. For DL8, DYL, and DO1QQ. And then last year, I was the pit crew, the Friday crew at N2NT and NP4Z. And I think they've rehired me again this year. So before I go to the Isle of Man, I'll be a pit crew.
I think sitting in those tents, we're all going to wish we had the locations like the Italian ones, the Airbnbs. Or whatever they call the turismos.
Guys, as we wrap up, let's just go around the room. What are your final comments for the audience regarding WRTC? Randy, start with you.
Well, I hope we have lots of activity. I hope the bands are good, so we actually get some rate and the ability of the operators and the strategy starts to come to the fore. But most of all, it's an experience. It's great to have all these people in one place, and they're competitive people, so you get to compete against them. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that it's important for everybody that's even remotely interested in contesting, kind of pays attention to what's going on here. I think it's a big event overall in contesting, and it's one of the few times where you're going to have the opportunity to really see what's going on as the contest goes on. So pay attention to that scoreboard. but also make sure that you guys actually work some of us. So don't just watch the scoreboard. And as you're tuning around the bands, I mentioned this once before, make sure that you guys spot us, spot Randy, spot every other team that's out there. The live spots help as well as the RBN spots. So work everyone, have fun, and enjoy.
I think the thing that I'd like to leave everybody with is look for those weird time band openings because it's the magic of a contest. It could take dead bands and bring them alive because people are finally calling CQ. So look for the WRTC stations, maybe in some off hours, maybe early on 40, and definitely keep your ears on 10 and 15 for sporadic E. And while you're working the WRTC stations, call some other guys too, and just have some fun with it. This is ham radio's shining moment, and everybody should be a part of it. Mark M0DXR told me, he says, you will not believe I've got 275 plaques in my garage. He says, there's so many awards. There's so many things going on. Look at the WRL site. Stay tuned in. Stay up for the whole 24 hours.
Oh, Tim's got me motivated. I want to watch it. We watched it last time, and it was riveting. Dan and I were glued to our stupid phones the whole time. So yeah, get on and have fun. One thing that we talked about previously was, we don't do a whole lot of pre-contest trash talk. And I didn't wear the approved Q5 attire because there's a subtle trash talk towards Randy, the only other competitor on here, since we had such good luck in 2014. It's about as far as we get with our fellow competitors. But remember that everybody you work is excited to work you. And if it's 140 degrees in the tent and you call us, we're going to be excited because we're 20 seconds closer to it being done. So please call us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So I just hope everybody that isn't going to be there watches all of the coverage and all the things that we're going to try to promote and sort of further the event along. The other thing that I would say is that if you do work anybody in the contest, please send your log in like immediately after it's over with, or whenever you're done with it. Just because this is one of the rare events where they really do need a 24-hour turnaround, and to get the log checking as best as it can be, they need the logs to verify the other half of the QSOs. It'll just sort of help make the a very fair event a very high quality result.
Guys, I appreciate you joining me tonight. I know for a couple of you, this is your second call of the day, so thanks for the double duty. I've got to say, I've really enjoyed all the pre-WRTC videos we've done, and looking forward to seeing you guys all in person next Wednesday, 73.
Safe travels.